We are recording on June 12th. It is about noon. And a day after, the Pacers took a 2-1 lead in the NBA Finals. Game three was yesterday. It was the first playoff game in Indy in 25 years. And it felt that way. That crowd yesterday was going crazy in certain parts. I feel like you could feel their energy through the TV sometimes when they were chanting defense, or they might have been chanting TJ. I don't know. But it felt like you could hear how crazy it was in there. But this really felt like a real finals game. Not like the first two games of this series. It did not feel like a lopsided matchup. There was intensity. There was momentum swings back and forth. The Pacers were down actually in the first part of this game. It was 15-6. Siakam was the only guy able to make plays. He had the first 6 points for the Pacers. Meanwhile, Chet was going off. After the first quarter, it was an 8 point game, and I was thinking, oh man, like Indiana's slipping behind, and it's just going to be a replay of game two. But that was not the case. The Indiana Pacers bench came into the game and made it a game, and they were actually up at halftime. Another crazy momentum swing is Jalen Williams hits a three at the end of the third quarter, and I'm thinking that felt like a gut punch right there. I think that put them up nine heading into the fourth. But regardless, this was an awesome basketball game, and it was really the it made me think about the story of this finals and really the story of this playoffs overall. It's really starting to feel like a Pacers story. Like the Thunder are this known entity. They're Goliath. They are even keel. They don't get too high. They don't get too down. But they are steady and they are a force. And they have been huge favorites in these finals and throughout the playoffs. And the Pacers are this team that nobody picked to get to the NBA Finals, aside from actually Karan and Jeff, who's been on the pod as well. But they have this enormous challenge ahead of them of how to crack the code of the Thunder, and they're the last team in the playoffs with a chance to do it. And we're seeing them kind of figure out this puzzle on the fly. And yesterday, they weren't trying to force bad plays. They're figuring out what's effective. They're figuring out how to play defense. Their whole team is stepping up, and it's really feeling like kind of a Cinderella story. And the story is unwritten. We don't know what the next chapter of the story is going to be. Do the Thunder respond? Does Mark Dagnall make some adjustments? Do the players come out differently? But I'm so happy that we are in a position where the underdog is leading, and we still have at least two games, hopefully more, of great finals basketball, and the stories are just unfolding all over the place. And to help us make sense of this whirlwind of the finals, we're once again joined by Karan. Thank you for being here, my friend. How are you?
Good, good. Great to be back. It's exciting. I wore a collared shirt this time.
Hey, you and me both. We're improving. We're taking this seriously. That's what it is.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, bro, I just wanted to ask you, take me back to like a week and a half ago at this point, 2 weeks ago, when we realized it was going to be Indiana versus the Thunder. How did you see things playing out? Did you envision this, a 2-1 lead for the Pacers?
Um, I don't know. I definitely thought it was going to be pretty even. I I think I didn't envision the Pacers like once again doing a crazy comeback on the same kind of like formula they've done in every single series in the first game.
Yeah.
And that's really just set the tone for like all of their series. I mean, when they get do that on people's home courts, it's just like mentally just messes with them and you've split the series. Like uh yeah, I mean it's crazy. I definitely didn't envision that, but it was like yeah, I have to be honest. I didn't think they were going to be able to do that against the Thunder. And I definitely thought they were going to win yesterday, but yeah, the first game was pretty surprising to me.
It was just crazy because I didn't envision this either, and it felt like everyone that I knew was saying, "Oh, Thunder in five, Thunder in six," just to have some respect for the Pacers. And I chose on the podcast Pacers in seven, but that was just because I wanted it to happen. If I had to bet my life on what was going to happen, I would have picked the Thunder in fewer than 7 games. But dude, I'm so on the Pacers side. I love this story,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of things that happened yesterday. We're gonna go through some of the things that stood out, but I want to know what you thought about TJ McConnell because he just seems like just a pest out there. And
Yeah.
he somewhere Jose Alvarado is shedding a tear when he's watching this game because
Yeah.
his inbound steals were amazing. And it's like, okay, that happens once in the finals or happens once during the game. The other team knows to look out for it because you can't just be giving up points like that. And to have it happen a second time and then a third time, and the third time the most egregious where he just catches it out of the air
Yeah.
and his energy and playmaking and like I was surprised because the first two games it felt like he was kind of getting stifled and like he wasn't being as effective against a good Thunder defense. But this time he stuck with his formula and it was leading to good things. What do you think about TJ?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan for sure. I mean, I love when he goes up. I love when he goes up for his mid range. I sometimes prematurely text people like he's money and then he starts taking threes and it's not going so well. But yeah, I mean, when he gets to his spots, like that's one thing. I just love the mid range. And then the second thing, yeah, I love the energy. I mean, it was an interesting comment I saw in one of these videos from the game, which was like it's interesting how like this is becoming at some levels like TJ versus like Caruso. I mean, in terms of
Hmm.
like the impact they can have on I mean, TJ is a little bit more energetic and Caruso is a little bit taller and athletic, but still, like they are like very. I mean, yeah, it's just indicative of the nature of the whole playoffs and who how these teams have succeeded, which is the bench. Like it has to be a complete team this year. If there's no one who can kind of take, you know, there's no substitutions, there's no minutes off basically. For anyone who is in,
Yeah.
it's like extreme that has an impact on the game heavily. So yeah, TJ is awesome. I mean, he definitely was one of the MVPs of the game for sure, of the top two for Indiana. Yeah.
And you mentioned him like starting to shoot threes this playoffs because of the Knicks were daring him and the Thunder dared him as well. He's been making more than I remember him missing, and
Right.
I've been like really like happy for him because that just he's like, okay, you're gonna try to give me this open look because you think that's bad for us. I'm gonna turn it into a positive for us. And it's like these small things that the Pacers are figuring out to give themselves an advantage. Like what was I gonna say? They're learning how to play defense against the Thunder a bit better. And then they're not forcing these passes where like I remember in game two, they were trying to post up Siakam and they were trying to give him the ball from beyond the three-point line. They're trying to make a pass down into him. And like while that ball is in the air, that's just time for defenders to get around. And there was like a mic'd up moment when Pascal was coming off the floor and Halliburton just was like, yo, like keep posting up. I'm gonna find you.
Mm-mm.
And Pascal was frustrated. He's like, I'm trying, bro. And I was like, oh, that's the first like rift or kind of negative interaction between players that I've seen. But they're not trying to do that stuff anymore. They're being way more calculated and way calmer and more
Yeah.
confident.
Yeah, I mean, another thing, it's not my original thought, but like something that all these broadcasters say, like it's almost a cliche, is that like the role players and stuff feel a lot more comfortable at home for each team. So, I mean, and I don't know, like you definitely see Benedict Mathurin like going off. I mean, that guy, I thought he was gonna have a lot more impact in like other series. He kind of took like a series and a half off, but he was still having a good impact. He had some really good defensive stuff. He's so athletic. I think he's really young too, but I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, like I don't know, like he was just what it really feels like to me is like you never know who's gonna kind of be playing well, at least especially for the Pacers, but even for the Thunder. I mean, like you never know who's like among the stars. Like the stars, these in all these teams in the playoffs, like they're all younger teams, the Rockets and the Thunder, etc. Like sometimes Jalen Green would just take a whole game off basically and not really do anything. Same thing with the Thunder. Not it's not as egregious, but I mean, yeah, like Jalen Williams really needs to like figure out how to be more consistent if the Thunder want to win. But yeah, Mathurin, I mean. It's just crazy. You can go for, I guess it's a matchups thing too, but you can go, everyone talked about how stifling the Thunder's energy and defense was going to be. And then this Mathurin is just dropping like what, 27 points. So
Yeah, he
yeah.
had he had 27. Dude, Benedict Mathurin. I was first introduced to him when it was one of the NCAA tournament years. I forgot which year it was. I think it was 2022. But he was on Arizona, and I remember I was flying somewhere and I was watching. this game, Arizona versus someone. I think it was in the Final Four, maybe the round previous. I was watching it in the airport, and he like it's on silent as well, so like I can't hear what's happening in the game. But I just see him, and he's making these crazy plays where he's just stronger than people. He's more athletic. He had one play where he like had some sick crossover, went down the lane, took two steps, and just hammered it down. And
Mm.
I could feel it through the TV, like how crazy of a momentum play that was. And he's like shouting afterwards, and I was like, that guy is a killer. And I
Mm.
remember thinking, like, is he the first pick in the draft that year? He just has this demeanor about him where, yeah, he's ultra confident. He's got swag. And like you said, earlier in the playoffs, he was like barely playing that many minutes. I don't even think he was getting into double digits. He was like not being very effective. And I was thinking, what's wrong with this guy? Because I know he has more to his game and is has that instinct that you need, like that irrational confidence to that you need to be well, um, or to be good in the game. And that actually brings me to a point that I wanted to ask you about because we are seeing some overlapping relationships in this series. For example, Andrew Nemhart and Chet Holmgren, they played on Gonzaga together. They have some familiarity with themselves. Nemhart and Shea, they apparently know each other from when they were young, playing for Canada basketball. And then Benedict Mathurin and Lou Dort as well. They've known each other for years. And I want to ask you, as someone who's played sports for decades, like when you are familiar with your opponent, how does that affect your like matchup and your confidence and your approach to the game?
It depends. I mean, the familiarity like is both a lot of times obviously you cancel each other out. It depends on what like each other's strengths are and how the matchup is. And then like for example, if I was playing against you or my other friend who's 6'5", like end of the day, if a lot of other things would cancel out because we know each other's game, and then maybe you would just exploit my other friend especially would exploit his size and just post me up, and then yeah, I can't really do that much about it. But I mean, that's what I think. I think about soccer too and how sometimes. I don't know, like it depends. Like I sometimes play a lot better. I actually usually play much better if I don't know anything about a player, even if they're the best player on the team.
Hmm.
I just kind of treat everyone equally, and that kind of mindset for me at least makes it because I like really like focus on defense in any sport that I play. I just feel like I'm able to be have a much measured performance against everyone. Whereas if I know a player is weak, I kind of might like lean off them a little bit, but this is not necessarily the case applicable here because everyone is strong. And I think to answer your question, basically, yeah, I mean, it probably ha has a mixed effect. It's not just it's both canceling out and then leading into like other like side effects, which basically just kind of like are like in my mind like an interleaving kind of different waves where initially it seems like you're going to have some advantage, but then you think you're just going back and forth in your mind. You're thinking, oh, I know about this guy, but then what if he knows I know that, so then I know this, it just kind of plays off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I think. So I think in this case, I'm not sure if it matters that much. It's more just like the coaches and how they dictate the strategy and basically say, listen, regardless of what you know about this guy, this is how we're going to play these people and just do this against them. And so familiarity, like, yeah, I would think at this level is not that much of a thing. And also, forget familiarity. It's also about who's in form, right? Like Benedict
Hmm.
Mathurin is now in form, series to series, or even year to year. So I think the coaches just don't even like. I think the players, if they've gotten to this place in the finals, they clearly all really bought it into their systems, and they're basically going to say like, "Hey, I'm not really." They shouldn't be focused too much on what prior knowledge they have of everyone. Just focus on the now and focus on what strategy needs to work and how we're going to improve from the previous game.
Yeah, you make a lot of good points there, especially like at this level, like the scouting is off the charts. There's almost probably an overwhelming amount of information that they have at their disposal about how to play someone. I'm thinking about like you mentioned soccer. I played defense, and when there was a forward that they were like, oh, this guy's like super good. You got to watch out for him. He's fast. He's strong. And I don't know him. I'm like, damn, he kind of carries this like aura about him that I am like intimidated by. I'll say. I think that familiarity does just allow someone to be more confident against
Mm.
someone that they know, or at least they probably thinking back like, oh, I used to beat this guy, like I can do it again, like I can talk sh shit to him. Um, yeah, dude, we went how long? I don't know, a couple minutes without talking about the stars of each team really, and I
Mm.
wanted to using that as a lead in to a point that you wanted to make about team building and death of the super team. So I'm gonna cede the floor to you, and I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the, again for a lot of things that I do, I really like to like not take credit for anything that's not my original idea. So again, this is something my friend brought up to me, another friend, and he basically said like, "Man, this really is like the end of the super teams era." And that was the first time that I really thought about that because you look at the Bucks and how they tried to make like Damian Lillard come to come play with Giannis, and they probably gave up some good pieces. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, they got close in the year that Giannis won, like, but they gave up such a young core of talented people, Karis LeVert, like D'Angelo Russell, etc. I mean, there's so many other examples. Just a few examples from the East, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I remember when you and I were in high school and we grew up watching the Thunder just be so close to winning, and obviously from the Bay Area. But I mean, I was a huge Thunder fan, and when they were 3-1 up against the Warriors in those Western Conference Finals, I was just like, why would Kevin Durant ever leave? Like they can easily go, but. I mean, yeah, apparently LeBron, who is one of our favorites, started the super team stuff and it worked for a while. I mean, KD was almost like redundant joining a 73-9 team. I mean, he was obviously like the star player, like along with Steph Curry there. But yeah, I don't know. The Thunder, I'm mentioning all this because the Thunder, right? They just kind of almost collapsed for a while. They had like CP3 and this and that. They did some different trades. They still always remained pretty relevant, but
they
they
had
definitely
Paul George and Carmelo.
right, and Russ had just gotten the MVP season, so they tried, and then they kind of moved away from that, and it's really interesting. I haven't followed the Pacers journey as much, although I just know they've become into like a lot more relevance, and I can probably like conjecture a little bit what happened there. But essentially, the Thunder, it's known like they kind of just traded people away. They kind of moved away from they focused on a rebuild. But whenever teams say that, they kind of, I don't know. You never, I don't remember any teams that have. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be wrong on this, but I don't remember teams saying they're going to focus on a rebuild and being this successful. And the fact that OKC got all these young players, they have really obviously a really solid every single person in every level in their organization that even the players mentioned. They mentioned the ball boys, the towel people, the staff that organize the racks for practice, etc., all the way up from them. That's how it goes. I mean, that's how every good sports team, a lot of them, like that's the level of quality you need to have top to bottom, but and bottom to top. But the OKC, like they draft all these young players, and last year they obviously were really good and they just didn't have the mentality and they didn't have the experience. But I thought that was going to happen again this year, and it's clearly not happening. They got to the finals, and what I'm trying to say is they built it. They built the team. They built this team with all these crazy draft picks they traded for from all the remnants of the super team. And if I'm not wrong, I'm going off another figure that another friend of mine said. They still have like 20 draft picks for the next few years,
Yeah,
which is insane. So I mean, like they should be a problem for a decade if
yeah.
they continue to build and maintain the team like I mean, they already have a good enough team who are extremely young. They got Chet Holmgren who used to cross up Steph Curry in his own camp. They got SGA who was, before the braids was like just having a fade and like killing it on the Clippers and in the bubble. Jalen Williams is like, dude, if that guy just spends one more year and gets his mental game right and consistency, it's gonna be insane. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the Thunder side. And I think, and I'd argue, like I'm not as familiar with the Indiana side, but they had Larry Bird involved with them for a while. He's from Indiana. They got Rick Carlisle, who you also apparently don't think that highly of, but he's
I flipped
a
my perspective on him. I'm
okay.
gaining a lot of respect for him.
But
Just annoyed me. Sorry.
I'll pause in a second, but just to say that clearly they've built their team too. So the teams are actually extremely similar. They pride themselves on gritty defense, on youth, on energy, on spreading the wealth and playing everyone and relying on the next man up mentality when the superstars aren't playing well. Both teams, their superstars aren't always playing like super well. I think the OKC's are more superstars are more consistent, but still, yeah, I would say the death of the super team is definitely happening and wondering, and then that begs the question, how repeatable are these models or how many years in advance do you have to start
Mhm.
to be like Indiana and OKC? Is it must be 5+
Yeah.
years, right? 5+ years, but yeah.
That makes me just think like there's teams that have been bottom feeders for years and it's like you could have tried all this time has passed that you could have been trying to get to something similar to what like OKC or what Indiana has done. And I'm just thinking about teams and it comes back to I think to your point of super team versus building it from the ground is this sounds cliche, but they have culture there. They have buy-in from everyone on the roster versus if you just put three superstars together who are like demand the ball and want to like be the star of the show. Like you're managing egos at that point instead of actually figuring out how does this group who is going to like if I'm the coach, how do I make this group the best? And I'm confident that these guys are going to listen to me. They're going to take constructive criticism versus I'm a coach. I'm just worried about the star players going to my upper management and saying like we don't like this coach. I really think there's something to that of you are building a team like a team is way stronger. This is the analogy that a coach of mine used to do. He would push us with one finger and it would like barely do anything. But then he would take like all five fingers and push us and we'd go flying backwards. He's like, you guys, when all five people are working in the same direction, like it's way stronger. And that just makes me think of another soccer analogy or something that I think you and I have learned from soccer is like the ball moves faster than any human can. And
Yeah.
if you're a superstar driven team, like there's going to be a lot of one-on-one and like ISO usage and high usage players, but like both of these teams and Indiana more so, I would say, like they really utilize the pass and move
Mhm.
and movement and creating situations where where it's not just stagnant offense and defense. So yeah, I hear you on the death of the super team. It's why I thought that the Warriors' start to this season wasn't a fluke because it was like they were 10-2 and everyone's like, "Oh, Steve Kerr is playing 12 guys, like it's not sustainable." And I'm like, "Why?
Mm.
They're good. They're playing hard in every minute. I see
I
super
loved seeing I loved seeing the Pajemski and the lacrosse guy and other people just like
lacrosse guy."
lacrosse I forget his name, man, but he's so funny. He comes in with a shirt undershirt. That's kind of how I do too. I wear a lot of
Yeah.
shirts when I play.
Dude, I'm
You
forgetting his
know.
name even. I'm such a fraud fan.
It reminds me of when the NBA had sleeved jerseys and that
Oh
was a
my
weird time.
God.
That was a funky time, but
Thank
yeah,
God
that
that just blew over.
LeBron got so pissed once he ripped the sleeves. It's so funny.
Yeah. All right. There's one other point that you texted me about that I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on. And I have no idea where you're gonna go with this. So let me know what you think about this media sensationalism. And that might
Yeah.
have factored into your previous point. I don't know.
No, yeah, it's slightly different, but it's just like that's just annoying. Like I just it's just interesting to see basically like today I see something like this from Yahoo News. I'm not sure if it's mirrored, but basically said I
Oh,
mean
I see.
also I'm just exposed. Like I only use Yahoo News like
Wait,
a
read that title out again.
it says Pacers inch closer to their first NBA title after beating the Thunder in Game 3.
Yeah.
And just after Game 2, I saw the opposite thing from Yahoo News. It was like, man, the Pacers. It's like some thumbnail of like Tyrese looking depressed, and it's just like, man, the Pacers are in some deep trouble. The Thunder. It's like, and how many games? Basically something like that. And how many games will the Thunder win now that they figured out Tyrese Halliburton and Indiana is completely screwed? And I'm like, I mean, dude, it's just such bad reporting. Like, y- anyways, all I'm saying is like this is a completely separate tone, a separate thing. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of media sensationalism, and I think that just goes. That's just interesting to see in this series because clearly no one else has any clue about who's going to win either, is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say basically. It's like they I mean media is always sensationalist, like Tibbs just got fired for the Knicks, which I don't know if
Oh,
we talked about.
oh, dude. Yeah. Yeah. I
Go
forget.
ahead.
I have
Go.
to
Yeah,
remind
yeah.
me to ask you
Yeah, we'll
about that.
talk
But
about it
keep
in a
going.
second. But yeah, I mean, they're putting all they have there's all sorts of opinions. I think what's interesting? I can't tell if it was just me searching for some more meaning in life back in COVID, but like I used to watch every single thing that ESPN and NBA on TNT put
Oh,
out.
dude.
Every single clip, I was holding on to everything. JaVale McGee was doing a vlog in the bubble and just eating vegan, which was really interesting. And he was just like, whatever makes a turd, he would keep saying that. And I was like, okay, this guy's kind of weird, but like I get to see, I'm living vicariously through these guys. And I'm so excited the NBA is back. And then to me, I was really clinging on to everything that Stephen A. Smith's sensational uh, blank said, whatever. I don't know if I can swear on this thing, but yeah,
Of
that's
course you fucking
sensational.
can. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, sensational ass was saying, man, that guy's a clown. But and the thing is, he knows what he's doing. But okay, rambling aside, I think the media sensationalism is indicative, like I said, of and the back and forth is even they are also confused. So it annoys me in general, but I feel like they don't even know what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I consume the media because like we only get 48 minutes of the game, which lasts for like 3 hours in real life. And
Hmm.
after that, it's like I still want to consume this basketball, but all we have is the media stuff that's like new and offering new perspectives and things like that. And it's just funny because yeah, you got to catch yourself sometimes. Like the people who are talking about what's going to happen, it's just predictions. They have no idea if it's going to happen. And then everything else is just reacting to what just happened in the moment. And what really made me excited about yesterday is like this was a completely
Right.
unexpected result, and it's only going to continue to develop in whatever way it has planned or the universe has planned. None of us know, and just like be excited for the different developing storylines instead of just like, oh, they're done, they lost a game, or like, hey, they're definitely gonna win. It's like let's talk about some of the nuances,
Yeah.
which why you and I are here, you know. But and it just makes me think like this is why you play the games. If it was like everyone thought the Thunder was the best and like let's just hand them the trophy now, it's like no, they're gonna have to earn it and right now there's another team in their way trying to earn it themselves and it's beautiful that this is going the opposite of the way that everyone online or even in my close circles were saying it would. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, I never watched I always watched sports growing up, but I was never like super into them until maybe like high school and stuff. I was just more into, I don't know, other silly stuff as a kid. Or like I mean, everything is
Bad
silly, but I mean, I was
company,
just like, yeah,
Call
video
of Duty.
games and like watching cartoons or I don't know. I love video games, I love hanging out with the friends and stuff. But
Mucho te queréis.
Nach Nacho Libre also it's my I think it's still my phone background. So but basically
Anaconda. Scoobies.
all I'm trying to
Okay, I'm
say
done.
is basically I can't tell if it's me not being plugged in back then or things have changed, but like what is this like it seems more sensational in the sense that so like all that happened was like teams will just split a series. Like that was so normal. I mean, like pe people used to come back 0-2-0, then 0-2, and now it's just 2-1. I mean, like the Thunder have a great chance to win the next game, and it's not going to be some fluke. It's just going to be like an adjustment. It's an even series, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
much more entertaining. Like, I think you said this in the very beginning, much more entertaining than seeing a blowout. Like, I mean, it's just unwatchable to see like people chucking up threes and then one team just makes a lot more and then like the Mavericks Celtics was like a bit more lopsided.
I feel like
So
it's like, tell me if I'm wrong, this is just a theory that came to my head, but casual fans, they don't care so much about the intricacies of what's happening from game to game. I think they care more about, oh gosh, this guy like shitting on somebody or like elevating someone in public status. And like every after every game, there's a chance for the media to do that. And it's just
yeah,
trying to appeal to the masses with clickbait, and it's just all about a dollar.
exactly. Which is
That's
how everything runs, which is like that's the like a commentary on society.
but it might
Sorry,
not have I went
yeah,
to your point when we were growing up, like I feel like it wasn't always like that. It was just like this is
yeah,
a sick avenue to get a different perspective and like not everything
true,
was just about making
true,
money all the time. Um,
true.
which is like the golden age of media.
Exactly. The goal one sorry to interrupt. One more thing I wanted to say was shoot, I forgot. Uh,
It'll
I,
it'll come back to you. I said golden age of media and like when you and I were young.
I was basically I had thought about shoot. You talked about like the lopsidedness and you're right. This is apparently one of the lowest like rated
Oh,
or like people like viewing finals in a while because I guess they're small and that's just interesting to me as we're getting older, right? And like getting much more into I mean you're a professional in marketing. I've become much more interested in the business side of things in general. It's just like big market teams. Like the Knicks were horrible for years, but people still like will buy their merch, will be followed them, that they'll draw more of an audience. And like so it makes me think, what if the Knicks were in the finals? Like would it would be this highly rated series because all these people are know what New York is. And I
yes.
mean like even I'm not tuning in. I mean, it's for different reasons, but even I wasn't tuning in as intensely as I was in the first two games, as I wasn't. If I was watching every other game, I
I
wanted
was
the
just
Knicks
gonna
to
make
lose.
I was just gonna make a joke that one of my best friends didn't even watch the first two games.
I did. I watched the first one, but like second one, I think I turned it on for a bit. I saw them getting blown out. I kind of just saw like this is the writing on the wall. Nothing too and like nothing too interesting for me to absorb here. It's just gonna be like let's just reset, which is kind of how like a lot of games last year felt. Even though I think I did say
Mm.
the same thing, like having annual amnesia. I think I did say that this is a great playoffs last year, but then when it got to the end game, it was kind of less interesting. But this time it's gonna be interesting for sure.
Dude,
I
tomorrow's game is huge.
tomorrow.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but bro, I wanted to ask you one thing on the super team side. Everyone right now is talking about where KD should go, and I've been
What about Giannis
Giannis is a different story because I feel like he's actually.
in his prime?
Let me get back to Giannis in a second. KD, it's like I'm seeing the Knicks. They're like, oh, maybe we should like trade Anthony Towns for KD, and I'm like, dude, don't trade for KD. He's not gonna even be there in the playoffs, and we saw last year like he can't carry a team. He's gonna score. There's 40 other players. Maybe that's an exaggeration. There's a lot of other players who can put up just as many numbers as he does now. Like he's injury prone. The guy got hurt in a layup line. And it's I'm like, don't gut your team. Like I just envision him going to the Knicks. They traded Cat and someone else, and they're just gonna be worse than last year than this year. It's like don't do that, dude. And I feel like that's part of the super team thing where it's like we gotta get KD. It's like or you can improve with the guys you have because the collective of the three people you'd have to trade are going to be way more valuable and produce more than KD does. I don't know. That was just something. But Giannis is different because he plays defense. He's going to be an Iron Man. He's going to play, and
Mm,
he's still
mm,
a top three player in the league. Like KD, like
mm.
not even top 20. He
I
might
mean,
be top
he's
25.
just he's the same age, almost the same age as LeBron. Like, I mean, he's getting there. I mean, yeah, I completely agree with you. I didn't know that they were gonna trade for Cat. I mean, why would you trade for Cat? Why would you trade Cat when you finally have made this guy start to like enter the paint? Like, he's finally like,
Yeah.
I mean, Tibbs probably will have like the mentality shift. Even though I don't like Tibbs, I think he did make him like much more gritty. So, I mean, that's just crazy. Like, don't trade. Yeah, like you said, KD has not been able to carry a team for years. And
Not keeping up with these young guys, dude. It's just not going to happen.
it's just the nature of the sport. Like the Knicks have such a core, like you said, it's just it's been one of the most frustrating things in basketball, especially. Like you they just they trade away three really great pieces, four really great pieces for one, maybe two players, and it almost never pans out. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. So, I mean, Tibbs, yeah, that guy's gone. You wanted to talk about him a little bit too, I think. I think we have a few more
That just reminded me
minutes.
of the Knicks KD point. That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I don't think, I mean, maybe San Antonio should trade for KD because like they can give up, they're not giving up the core of their team, but like I don't think that, and they're also not on the clock to win a chip. Like the Knicks are trying to win a chip. I don't think they get better with KD. Um,
Yeah.
quick question because we have a couple minutes left. At the end of the game yesterday, the Pacers were up by 8 with 4 minutes to go. And I was like, if it was the other way around, if the Thunder were up by 8 with 4 minutes to go, I would still give the Pacers a chance. But the Pacers being up 8 with 4 minutes to go, I was thinking, dude, they're gonna do this. They have this in the bag. Like
Mm.
they have an point cushion. They don't need to come back. Do
Mm.
you feel yourself thinking that way too, or is that just give OKC a chance to come back with that as well?
I gave OKC a chance to come back, but the certainty I felt the same way, but the certainty wasn't there as it was like given the Pacers in this playoffs. Like it's when I see someone up eight, even up eight with 3 minutes to go, I think if you play properly, like this game should be over. I mean, you played actual like competitive basketball, but I don't understand why people don't just like with 2 minutes to go, if you're up by a certain margin just get a shot clock violation like every single time. Just go stand there, like in
Yeah.
there, get a foul. It's gonna get a foul. It's gonna get something. Lie on the ball ground with the ball. But yeah, I don't know. Regardless, like yeah, I agree with you. I think that I thought the Thunder could have come back because they were scoring a little bit, but I it wasn't the same feeling as the Pacers. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're about to be booted.
We are. Well, thank you for making time, my friend. I'm excited that I get to see you in person soon.
Yes,
And
sir.
take it easy.
You too. Take it easy. Bye.
Right, see ya.